Hey Kansas, this is Kansas Helen here. I'm at the beautiful Derby Library here with Caden Bennett, who is running for
Kansas House District 81. That's Plainview, McConnell Air Force Base, some Sedgwick County unincorporated Wichita, and North Derby.
And he is running to unseat Blake Carpenter, who has been pretty much unopposed for 11 years that he's been in office, or however long he's been in office. I think he might have had one candidate, one session, but otherwise he's gone completely unopposed. And so there's been no Democrat option. So I want to get out the word to everybody that there is a Democrat running in Kansas House District 81. And Caden, the first question I like to start out with, I want to go ahead and throw it out here that I am his campaign manager, and I've known him for a decade, but I am going to try to conduct the rest of this conversation as if that wasn't true. And so Caden, the first question I like to ask people is, do you know what it's like to not have one more penny?
Yes, definitely. I grew up pretty poor. We didn't have much food or places to live. Honestly, we moved around quite a bit. My parents weren't always the most responsible people. And we grew up in generational poverty over and over again. So I'm pretty glad to be breaking that for my kids now.
Yeah, we've had this conversation about middle class.
Right.
Because I still feel so poor, but technically, what is going on? Because it used to be like the kind of income I know I made at my last job. I thought if I could make $52,000 a year, I'll be rich. I'll never need money again. But by the time I got around to making $52,000, it was really like $30,000.
Even being middle class now, I still feel when I was a kid, if I saw me now, I would think that I was rich. Yeah. If I was a kid and I hung out with my kids in school, I would think that they were rich kids when I went to their house.
Yeah, because you own a house.
Yeah.
I lived in a trailer. We did own it in high school.
We
rented a trailer up until high school. So we were really making it when we bought our own 1978 single wide, not a nice new double wide.
Right.
But it was ours, right? And so that was actually a step up from where we were, which was renting a trailer.
Yes.
And then it's just like, why are you running? What got you here?
I think that I'm just tired of not having a voice. I voiced some concerns to who's now my opponent, and I felt like I was completely dismissed. He laughed at my comment on Facebook, and that was the last straw. And I said, "That's it. I know that I can do this. At least I listen to everybody."
Yeah.
And I don't think that when you're in a professional position like that, you should be able to just dismiss people and pretend like they don't exist. We have whole neighborhoods out here that are completely being dismissed every single day, and I think that it's time for regular people to have somebody to talk to. I don't feel like I could talk to my opponent at all.
No, I don't feel like he's going to respond. He did. You emailed him and he responded, but it wasn't like...
Yeah, he responded and told me he's not going to answer hypothetical questions.
Yeah, it's just as a constituent that's just trying to talk to your rep, and you weren't planning to run or anything.
No, I had no interest actually at all in being involved in any sort of politics.
I had to talk you into it. So I was trying to talk him into it at the same time, and he's like, I don't know. And then he reacted.
Yeah.
And that was like the final straw, because it was a very well thought out comment. I'll put it over when I put this video out, what the comment was. It was very respectful, thought out, intelligent conversation about, what was it, education funding?
Yeah, it was about property taxes and fully funding special education and how those two go hand in hand. And
he just laughed
at me
as a constituent. Yeah, so.
And then he blocked me.
And he blocked you, and so he's like, all right, I'm running.
Yep.
Let's do this. I can do a better job than that. That's one thing I told people as I'm doing these interviews, is that I want people to see these interviews and either think, if they can run, I can run. Like
for sure.
Or if they can run, I can run. They're either way, as long as it gets people out there and gets them involved. But we'll see. It's not as hard as you think if you do it correctly, and it's not as expensive as you think.
Yeah. We're not really spending any money so far. We've bought some rubber bands, some postcards, a hole punch, and push pins.
Paper and ink.
Yeah.
Yeah, canvassing stuff. So you can, and that's another thing I'm hoping we can prove. People are telling me I'm crazy, that we're crazy, that we can't do it without a whole bunch of money.
Yeah, $50,000. What do you need $50,000 for when you have 2 feet and you can go knock on people's doors? That is...
Because the opponent has $58,000, so they think if you have a chance to win, you got to get as much money as the opponent. But we don't think that's true. And so if we could not just flip the House seat red, but take out Blake Carpenter, who is basically second in command in the House, and who probably does think he's going to be Speaker of the House next year. So we're taking out a senior member of the Republican Party here, not just any old red seat. But I think Caden can do it. I've looked at the numbers.
I think the thing is, no shade to anybody who is raising a lot of money for their campaign that is trying to do better. Where we live, I think that he has not gone to any of the neighborhoods that I've gone to talk to regular people. I know that he wouldn't
step foot in 310 or Plainview
or know how to have a regular conversation with regular people.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He's out of touch. He's definitely out of touch.
Yeah, he's been there too long. He seems like he was a regular person, but I don't know. Term limits. You do support term
I
limits?
do support term limits, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what they should be, obviously, because I haven't had the job yet, but in general, I support term limits.
People shouldn't be dying in office
Yeah, no.
because they've been there for 30 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane. And they're out of touch at that point. I think that once they go to Washington or they go to the Topeka Capitol, whatever, they spend too much time there inside the machine, they become part of the machine and they lose touch with what it is to be an everyday person.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it seems like that really hits at least after 5-8 years. It seems like a decade or more seems like too much time, but
Yeah.
they do have to have experience and stuff.
Well, that's where you get into it.
So it's like how long
You have to make
long,
sure
but-
somebody has enough experience to know what they're talking about, to mentor new young people coming in and make sure that things are running smoothly. You don't want just a bunch of freshmen every single year.
Yeah, they should be doing a changing of the guard.
Yeah.
They should be finding their replacement
Yeah, I agree.
and then mentoring their replacement and
Yeah.
then helping them.
That would be a good system.
That would be a good system, yeah. So you have a pretty unique perspective about marijuana legalization, property tax relief, and funding special education.
I do.
If you want to describe your thought process there.
First of all, I don't use or have any skin in the game with marijuana. I know a lot of people who use it, especially veterans and some of the support groups that I've been at the VA. I know that they use it for pain, or our PTSD group. A lot of guys use it in there. And I know that some of my friends use it recreationally. My parents are big weed smokers.
Yeah.
And I just think at this point we're sending people across state lines to get a substance, to bring it back here that could be grown here, that people could use in their homes or whatever. Tax it like alcohol. Alcohol seems a lot more dangerous anyway. And then just have the same laws around it as we do alcohol. And then all of that revenue that we're giving away would then stay in our state, and we could fund our special education, because that's what the problem is right now. They're saying we've legally funded education, which, sure, legally you funded education, but you left out an entire sector of people.
Yeah, it's supposed to be at 92% and it's at 69%.
That's absurd. And so if we need more money, and the only way to get more money is to find a new revenue stream, then there it is. You could give farmers some tax breaks for the first few years for farming marijuana. You could,
Or even just the hemp.
yeah,
We could have whole textile industries
Yeah.
and manufacturing.
bricks,
here again.
clothing, everything.
And just what the benefits of it on the soil, because they have to rotate and
Mhm.
leave crops, fields empty to recover, and they
Mhm.
actually help. There's so many benefits to just the even hemp part
Yeah.
that doesn't even get you high for Kansas. Kansas used to grow it here. It was a major part of our economy for a long time. And it could be again, and it's silly.
But just to have that new revenue stream, because everybody's, where's the money coming from? Here's a new revenue stream. This is all that I got. I know that I can't make that happen. I can't do that by myself. But if we have enough people voted in this time that believe in it, then we could probably do it.
Yeah. I think if you had enough people that were energizing the people,
Yeah.
that were actually talking to their constituents.
Yeah, we just need people to get out and vote, honestly.
Yeah. Speaking of get out and vote, August 4th,
August 4th is the primary.
the primary, but also unaffiliated voters can vote because of the amendment.
Yes, there's an amendment that has to do with judges. Right now, we have a system where lawyers choose people that are qualified to become a judge, and then they
Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
So a group of lawyers, there's a board of people who understand the law and understand people's qualifications to become a Supreme Court justice, and then they select a few of them. Those people's names are then put on the governor's desk, and then the governor chooses from one of those, instead of us having this big election and putting signs up and getting money. So if I have my farm and then I see this guy who I know is gonna give me some kind of break, and I can donate 50,000, whatever, how much,
Yeah.
whatever you're allowed to donate,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of dollars to this justice, then now we're just buying them.
Yeah. And we do get to vote on them. The
Yeah.
thing is, we do get a vote. We get a year later. If we don't like what they've done, they
Yeah.
get a chance to show us. If we don't like it, we can take them. We do get to have our voice in it. So I
Right.
think that I think it's the best system.
Well, it's the
better
best system
than
in the
just-
country.
It's better than just doing, was it Wisconsin? The one that Musk tried to buy.
Oh, I don't remember.
I remember if it was Idaho, it was Wisconsin. He tried to buy the Supreme Court justice. It didn't work. It would be the same thing here. I really don't want that. But we have Coke here. We don't need Elon Musk to come in and buy anything. So I'd really prefer our Supreme Court justices not to be bought and paid for if we can help it, because they're going to overturn the will of the people, which was our vote. It's all about abortion. The thing
Yeah.
is, it's about ultimate power and control, because if they can get power, that's the last thing they need, right? So I say vote no August 4th.
Yeah, vote no, August 4th. Vote no.
Unaffiliated. All you do is show up, vote no, and leave. That's the main thing, is that unaffiliateds need to know that they can also vote on it, not just because it's a primary.
Right.
But you vote that one thing and you get out of there. But we need everybody to show up August 4th and vote. It's a constitutional amendment, they're trying to put it.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away. It's not easy to undo in the future if we got better representation later. Then, as far as your stances on guns and police accountability,
Yeah, I think that firearm safety is very important. I have firearms in my home, so my children are not allowed to play with fake guns, fake weapons of any kind. Actually, we usually put it on their birthday invitations. Gifts are not necessary, but if you do feel like bringing one, please ensure that it's not a fake weapon of any kind. We teach them heavy responsibility around firearms and how to respect them, because ultimately, what are they for? They know that if they are to pick up a gun, it is to shoot something, to kill it, to eat it, or to shoot something because they're so afraid for their life that there's a reason. But we also keep our firearms locked up. That's very important to me. Some things I ask other people before my children go to their houses: do you have firearms? If so, are they locked up? If not, my child can't come over. Where do you keep your guns? How are they stored? Because there's just too many children dying from accidents of people who just don't have their weapons locked up because they think it can't happen to them. And I think that people need to start being held accountable. If a child dies in your in your home from a weapon that belongs to you that you had improperly secured, then there does need to be some consequences for that.
Yeah.
And the same thing,
there's the Royale law.
yeah, the Royale.
They were trying to get it passed to have a secured storage law.
Yeah.
So that would be something that
Yeah, that would be something I
you'd
support.
support
Fully, definitely.
in the state house and could get your voice behind at least
Yeah.
in passing. Yeah, and then police accountability was the second part.
Yeah, police accountability. Obviously, I feel like everybody should be held accountable. I think that we definitely need more transparency in our police department here. I just keep on digging into things and learning more and more. In Philly, they have a citizens
Yeah, review board.
and I don't know, I keep on looking into things here and it doesn't seem like things are very transparent.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more transparency in our police department, because I'm not like, oh, we need to get rid of all police officers.
you were-
I do think that.
You were basically a combat police officer
Right.
in the military, and then
Yes.
you have some actual
Civilian police
civilian
experience.
police
Yeah.
experience in Florida.
Yeah.
And so you were former law enforcement, essentially.
Yeah, so I just think that understanding the job and understanding what it takes, I think that there's a big distrust in the police here. And that's not the kind of world that I want to be in. Growing up, we were always taught, oh, run to the cops because that's if you're lost, find a police
They're the
officer,
helpers.
they'll help you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like people feel that way in Wichita.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if we can have better conversations and publicly holding officers accountable that do things against their training or whatever in the police department says, yes, we understand this happened. Yes, it was terrible and awful. These are the steps that we're taking, and we're bringing you along with us the whole time. That would maybe bring more trust into the police. I'd love to teach my children that if you're in trouble or in need of something, then run to the police. I would love to work with the police department on many things, especially finding out, like, from a legal standpoint, what things do they need from a lawmaker's perspective that would help their jobs be safer, easier, and help the public trust them more. Because there are things that they can't do legally. They do some things anyway that are already not. But to make sure
because
that
they're humans, right? Cops are humans and they make mistakes.
every human is going to make a mistake.
I just want, when they make a mistake, to admit they made a mistake and make it right, and not drag everybody through all this.
Yeah, I agree.
And so they can't never make a mistake. Every single shooting or whatever can't always be justified. There will be mistakes to it, and there will be ones that are justified.
Yes.
There's definitely one this year that was definitely justified, and they did everything they could, though, to not shoot him to begin with. And that's all I'm saying, is they should be doing everything that they can, possibly within their ability, to not take a human life.
Yes, I agree.
Or endanger their own or anything, but it needs to, everybody's life needs to be factored into their decision making, not just their own. And so, and when they mess up, they just need to be accountable. People
That's all.
mess up.
Yeah, that's all that I'm
Humans
saying. I'm saying
People
if we
mess
could
up.
just say, "Hey, this was a really bad thing. I'm not trying to minimize this thing. I don't want to blame anybody else for this thing. This guy messed up. I'm not going to sit here and say he's really wonderful, this and this, because we should already believe that. We should already believe this is a really good person, because that's all we're hiring is really good people. We shouldn't have to do this. That person was bad. This person is good. It should just be, this officer messed up. This happened. This is what's happening now. These are the steps that we're taking to rectify that so that it doesn't happen again.
Yes.
And let everybody know that this is what's going on.
Yeah. Instead of it just being, that's how it goes. Another day at the job.
Yeah.
You know.
And I understand investigations and whatever, but their investigations are not.
I think we could, I don't know how we could force this to happen, but KBI should be investigating. We shouldn't have a sheriff investigating the police and the police investigating the sheriff in the same jurisdiction like that. Because they're basically, they know each other and they're investigating themselves. And KBI will investigate it, but they have to be asked. And the thing for me too is, I don't know how much it costs, but KBI will investigate it. It's just part of their budget already. So they will investigate it and they don't send us a bill. Whereas a sheriff, Sedgwick County, every time Sedgwick County has to investigate the Wichita Police, it's costing every taxpayer, even if they don't send a bill, they're using their time and their money and our tax dollars to investigate Wichita Police Department. And I don't know what that was.
Sounded like a police radio.
Y'all listening? Anyway, so we're, every single taxpayer in Sedgwick County should be able to have an opinion on what happens with the Wichita Police, because whenever the Sedgwick County has to investigate them, they're using Sedgwick County dollars to do it. So they're using tax dollars to do it. And they don't track it, so I can't find out how much, but I know it's there. And so KBI would come in and do it for free, and I think KBI, what they do is they make a statement, and then they don't release any footage. They release
nothing until the investigation is gone.
They don't talk on camera. They send out one press release about it, and then a year later, once they've investigated all of it, they have a press release and they release the complete investigation, and they don't say nothing in between. And that I think bare minimum, if they could just do that, if they could just not say anything.
I think that's a long time, but I understand. That would be better than this back and forth nonsense.
Just releasing just enough snippets, either release it all or release none.
Yeah.
It would be, and that would be a small change, that if I could just get the Sedgwick County Sheriff and Wichita Police Department to at least agree to do that.
Yeah.
Which I think that's not unreasonable. If it's an ongoing investigation, you can't release stuff, I get it, then release nothing. Except a statement, and we'll get back to you when the investigation's complete.
Yeah. And
that's it. And then you don't have the family having to go in and defend people in the comments, because there's no information for the public to gather an opinion about. It's just facts of, this happened with this person on this date at this location. We'll get back to you when the investigation's complete. And I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to ask. Foster care is a big one, and I just interviewed Epley. I really want to get you and Epley together. because he actually wrote a bill on foster care. I haven't got a chance to read it yet, but it's on his website, like a bill he's proposing to do foster care. So yeah, foster care reform. You want to talk about that and like why it's so important to you?
Yeah, foster care is very important to me. I've worked with lots of children in foster care over the years. We've been foster parents. Watching how the system works day in and day out, there are so many things that can be different, especially from like a trauma-informed basis. I think that we need to basically just retrain everybody. I think that they need a higher budget. Those people that we're paying to go remove children from their homes for the first time, this might be the 50th time that a worker has removed a child, but it's the child's first time. And so things are not being considered, I think, from a trauma standpoint, exactly on how those events happen. We need more training from like a neurosequential system instead of just, oh, we think we should do it this way. I think that things need to be like psychology based.
Yeah.
I think that we need a psychologist overseeing every department.
Because a lot of it right now is up to discretion of
the
caseworkers.
caseworker.
And then nobody in this process is truly independently, it seems, for the child. Because you would hope the foster care parents are, but their voice only means so much. But
Right.
as far as the child does not have proper representation.
The child doesn't have their own worker.
Because DCF is being funded by,
DCF oversees the private.
but it's the government. And they're worried about their thing. And then you have the parent that is being, the child's taken from it, and their rights, and they have a lawyer
Right.
worried about their rights. But somebody that is just independent of these two people, that is dedicated to what is best for this child.
There's a lot
Their
of things that we could
representation.
do. Give the parents their own worker, the child their own worker, the foster parents or kinship people their own worker, and it works that way already. But that's what I mean, is there's so many things to factor. This is just such a complicated process. And then the people who can have a case go on for 5 years, and then people who have a case go on for 6 months, and it's,
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be like there's some sort of, like I said, there's a lot of discretion up to.
and there has to be
caseworkers, up to
discretion because of
judges.
severity of cases and abuse and neglect and things like that. And we obviously can't make a one size fits all
Yeah.
for a human. But I think that we need to get some more protocols together, that
Like standards of care.
standards of care, even a SOP. There's no book. There's no. I asked every single agency that we've ever been with for the standard operating procedure, and they have none.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's
Yeah.
no standard
Yeah.
operation. There's no foundation
Yeah.
of a procedure even to start out with, and then branch off into individual.
And then the foster parent training is way different from the caseworkers training, obviously, but like, I feel like sometimes the foster parents training is more,
Yeah, it's
depending on
pretty
the
thorough.
agency that you go.
I went through
Yeah,
almost
tips
all
match,
the training.
right?
Yeah, I went through everything but the last 2 weeks of it. And yeah, it makes you really start thinking about the child and centering the child in this experience you're about to go through. And I think it's a great job of preparing parents.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, the training that goes for social workers, I don't know what it's like, or the people going in there, but it should be centered around, this whole situation needs to be centered around what is best for the kid in this situation. What's going to be less stressful for them, not the parents, not the caseworker, or whatever. What is going to be best for the kid in this situation?
And in some of those instances, the best thing for the child is to foster the family, is to just give the family everything the family needs to function properly. Some of these traumas are happening due to poverty, due to just lack of things. And so they did a good job at changing that. There's a questionnaire, and one of the questions is, would this child be in the same circumstance if money wasn't an issue, if this
Yeah.
wasn't due to poverty? And if the answer is no, then this child, you
the
know,
family needs resources,
Right.
not the child.
and if we can just, when it's safe, instead, if we're not talking about a child who's being like beaten every day,
Yeah, they just have a mattress on the floor.
when it's
Things
safe
aren't
and we
clean
can
or
do
something.
things to help a whole family and give overwhelmed parents some tools in their tool belt, resources to say, hey, look, I know that you were hit and yelled at when you were a child, but maybe we aren't screaming in our kids' face anymore. Let's work on building a relationship with the family and helping them maybe have stable housing, food. If you're not coming home from working 40 hours a week and then worried that you're only filling your children's bellies with ramen noodles and they're still hungry, then maybe you're not as stressed out anymore if you can feed them.
Patience for your kid. Yeah.
So fostering the family would be a really big help when it's safe. Obviously, you'd have to have requirements and people that qualify.
I know my friend had his kids taken because their house was messy and they had mattresses on the floor. They had mattresses on the floor because the kids would jump and they'd fall and hurt themselves, and it was just safer to have them on the floor. But their house was a mess. That's really
Thankfully, a lot of those things are.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, so I feel like they've updated that. But they took the child, and the child went to an uncle and then was killed by the uncle because their house was clean, but he was abusive. So their house was dirty, but they loved their children. They did not abuse them or hurt them in any way. Their house was just messy, and so that was crazy. So I feel like they have made some changes,
but still, I mean, we do still have some things happening like that where somebody calls because kids are living in a messy house but otherwise loved, and they still come investigate, and in some cases they still make the parents take parenting classes and all this stuff when honestly there was nothing wrong with the parenting. It's just a person who's overwhelmed and taking care of all of these children, and maybe just send them somebody to help them clean and organize and go through things and say, okay, how can I support you today?
Yeah, because I've known this person since high school, and I know that's the environment he grew up in. I know that's the environment the wife grew up in. So to them, that's just normal how your house is.
Some people don't know.
And it's just generational of people being hoarders and living like that. And so, and then sometimes when things get out of control, you're both working and getting things back under control, but I don't think there's any benefit to taking the children if they just need to clean up their house.
Yeah. And we would spend a lot less money too.
Yeah.
If we just gave resources to families.
And cause less
I'm not saying that there's no instance in where children need to be removed. Obviously there are several.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of times we can give support for, let's say, a year or however long a court case would run. If we could give support to somebody for a year, then maybe we can really change some lives here and reduce some trauma, and then reduce the public's burden later in life, because kids who grow up in trauma, who are in foster care, are this many more times likely to go to jail and do this and end up with no home and living on the streets, and then we're still paying the bill anyway. And then we have another person in society who's not functioning to their best and not living their best life because they were failed by us.
Senior care is a big thing, and I think the expanding of Medicaid.
Yes.
Here, and then senior care and rural hospitals. A lot of these issues come down to being solved by expanding Medicaid and raising the minimum wage.
Yeah, and expanding Medicare, Medicaid, that's the problem. So we're in a situation right now where my grandmother and grandfather were married their whole lives. My grandfather died from esophageal cancer probably about 10 years ago. And he had jobs where he had 2 little pensions. And so after he died, my grandmother started getting those 2 little pensions. Now those pensions are less than $300 combined. So one is, $90 and the other one's $150 or something. And that puts her over the threshold to qualify for Medicaid, because she started getting his Social Security after he died, even though she was on it. His was more because he'd worked more. So anyway, the income problem, she's making too much to qualify for Medicaid, which means that she doesn't qualify for the frail and elderly program. She doesn't qualify for food stamps. She doesn't qualify for all these things, but all of those things cost more than the money she's making. So to get somebody to come over and shower her, that's $100 to $150. Then her medication is $300. Diabetes medication is expensive. So there's all these things, and then the needles and the strips and whatever, and we just got her approved for a Dexcom, but she has to pay 20% of that. Yeah. And so if we can't come up with the 20%, then she just doesn't take it. Then she just goes without. Yeah.
And she dies.
Yeah.
This is literally life. We're not talking these are life or death medications.
Yeah. And so I called the company to ask them for the coupons, because in the commercials they always say, if you can't afford your medication, give us a call. They said she makes too much money to qualify for the program because she doesn't qualify for Medicaid, so they can't give her a discount.
Oh my God.
until she pays the
20%.
it's $980 or something
Yeah.
that she has to pay for the year. Once she pays that, then they'll qualify her for the discount. But until she pays that, that's fine. But this is $300 at a time every month she has to put out for that medication. So if she doesn't have the $300 in her bank account,
So it's like all the hard work your grandfather did
yeah,
his whole life to save, to have pensions, to Social Security, is actually harming her.
yes.
She'd have been better off.
If I can call the pension people and tell them to just cancel the pension, she would be fully taken care of.
But they don't allow that, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Like, she would be fine because then she could get Medicaid and that would cover her medications.
Yeah, just say so.
And then she could just afford her food. She wouldn't need to have food stamps. I mean,
Yeah.
she doesn't get food stamps anyway. But now she's choosing between buying groceries, buying medication, or paying somebody to help her with the shower.
Yeah, or
Because
you're
she's
paying
not
for
mobile,
it,
or I'm
another
paying.
family.
Well,
member's
I'm paying for it,
you're
but,
paying-
yeah.
yeah, or somebody has to pay money for it, or
Yeah.
it doesn't happen and she dies.
Yes.
Alone in an apartment unshowered. She has you to help and to
Yeah.
advocate for her and stuff, but a lot of people don't have you.
Yeah.
And my mom has us to help her, but we don't have any money either.
Yeah.
She needed that kind of money. She just has her Social Security from Target, so
Right.
she's poor and she gets all the stuff. But if she didn't, nobody in our family can afford to pay $300-400 a month to help her. She's lucky that she has somebody to
Right.
help her. But yeah, there's a lot of seniors that don't.
Yeah. I know somebody right now who I just helped sign up to get on a housing list because she's elderly, can't care for herself anymore, but doesn't qualify for a nursing home. Can't afford it. We called around too, looking for one. It's $6,000 a month. And then the ones that only take just their Social Security, they're all full.
Yeah.
So there's nowhere. Even if it was like our last option, like fine, just take all of her money and put her in this home and then cover all of her medications.
There isn't
There's
Because
no
they're closing down.
there's no spots.
Because we didn't expand Medicaid.
Yes.
So people that had these homes, it's more lucrative to move their businesses to other states that expanded Medicaid. And so that expanding Medicaid would save rural hospitals. It would mainly benefit people like that, the
Yeah.
elderly. It would benefit
Just
some
people who are falling through the
the
cracks.
cracks.
That's
They-
the problem.
They make too much to get assistance, but they don't make enough
Enough
to
to-
just pay out of pocket
Right.
for all their medical expenses. And the 90% of it is money on the table from the federal government, and then 10% of it's from Kansas. And I did the analysis looking at Iowa's compared to Kansas. And the thing is that because they're saving so much money, because what happens when people don't have insurance, they go to the hospital, and then the
Right.
hospital has to cover them. Those expenses are getting put on to the rest of us. And if they got Medicaid, it's much
Yes,
cheaper.
smaller.
It's
So-
a much less expensive way for us to get medical care to people, and it saves everybody, whether you have insurance, Medicaid or not.
I was just talking to some people actually who live in my district, and we were discussing about going to the hospital because they don't have health insurance and they don't have a primary care provider. They work a full-time job, cannot afford health insurance through the marketplace, and work a service job, so it's not like their boss is providing them, the
Yeah.
company is not providing them insurance. And so anytime anything goes wrong, they go to the hospital to be treated, when this could have just been a well visit. But if you have to pay $100 at urgent care, that's still too much. So if we just have, oh, hi, let me call my doctor because I'm congested and whatever, and not let it turn to pneumonia and then be
Yeah.
out of work for 6
Yeah.
weeks and in the hospital, this whole bill could have been not a taxpayer burden for us
Yeah.
allowing
That's the
them
thing,
to
they're
go
like,
to a
I don't
$20
wanna
doctor's
pay-
appointment.
I don't want to be paying for everybody
But we're
else's
paying
health
it.
insurance, but you're paying it anyway because these uninsured people still have to have care, and this is how they have to do it. They have to go into our emergency systems, which overloads them, and
Yeah, and then it's not
all
ready for
comes
real
back.
emergencies.
Yeah.
Because somebody's been walking around with pneumonia for 4
Yeah.
weeks, bartending and waitressing.
That's another thing too. The
Afraid to lose their job because their kid needs new shoes this week.
yeah, and so they just go to work sick.
Go to work sick and then make it to the hospital
Spread
at
it all
night.
around. Spread their germs all around. I've gone to work sick plenty of times when I waited tables or
me too.
decade. I hardly ever call in. I hate calling in. Even when I'm sick, I feel like they think I'm lying.
I know.
Every time I feel bad.
Me too. But that's how they trained us.
You have opinions on raising the age of consent.
Oh,
And
yes.
Child marriage.
I would like for child
Getting
marriage
that
to
on the
be
website.
illegal in the state of Kansas. Currently, it is not.
Radical.
I think that you should have to be 18 years old to be married. No exceptions. I'm sorry. There's no reason. Before it was, oh, they got pregnant as teenagers. No. Who cares? You can still have a baby and not be...
And just wait.
Yeah, just wait. Just
Yeah.
decide if you still want to marry that person in 2 years. No.
Yeah, see how they end up being.
All
as
we
a
have to
marriage.
do is outlaw child marriage. I do not understand why this is such a foreign concept.
I think-
And look who just did it before us.
Oklahoma. They got medical weed at least, and they've outlawed child marriage.
Yeah, wow. What a
If
weird
their
concept.
school system starts being better than ours, come on. Yeah, we're getting surpassed by
Yeah.
Oklahoma. It just seems like common sense. And Stephanie, I cannot remember her name, Representative Stephanie something. I cannot remember her name. She put a bill in, not
Right
last
on the
session. Yeah, I'll put it up there. Last session or the session before, and it went into committee and died. It never went anywhere. They didn't even hear it. They didn't even look at it. It was submitted and died. And it was just a bill saying raise it to 18.
Yeah.
And it never went anywhere. They didn't even listen to it. I just don't understand why they wouldn't want. Why would anybody be opposed? It's this craziest thing to me that you would be opposed to people that they can't drink till they're 21.
I know.
And why can they get married before 18? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, it seems like common sense to me.
I'm going to go to high school prom and be married. I'm going to prom with my boyfriend, or
Yeah.
not my boyfriend, with my husband. I'm going to prom as husband and wife. Like, what?
Yeah, and I think any parent that they shouldn't be able to give permission for their 16-year-old to get married. They shouldn't want them to. So
You shouldn't force them
if
to
you're
get
cool,
married.
if you're cool with your 16-year-old getting married, I don't trust your judgment to decide whether a 16-year-old should get married.
Yeah.
Honestly, what's the harm in waiting 2 more freaking years?
Yeah.
It's 2 years. Just wait. It doesn't matter. Oh, the baby will be born out of wedlock. It was conceived out of wedlock. That's the important thing, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You can't undo the sin by getting married. That's
Yeah.
what I did. That's why I got married to my first husband, is
Same.
because I got pregnant. That's why I got married.
But you were an adult.
I was 21.
Yeah.
But it was all family pressure.
Yeah.
21's an adult, but still,
Yeah.
I can't imagine being 16 and having family pressure. I would have definitely bowed down to it at 16 if I did at 21.
And some of the kids that we've fostered have had children when they were teenagers and were being pressured to be married just so that they could get out of the system and have a family. But then what? That's another taxpayer burden. Who's taking care of this young family? And then there's no education, no whatever, because everybody's working. No. Can we just be 18? Can we just all agree that 18 is the age of consent?
I would like you to have to be 30 to get married.
Oh, that's
No,
too, that's a
I'm
little too
kidding.
much.
I know I'm being eyeball, but at least I'm saying, like, if you can't be trusted to drink a beer, how can you be trusted to get married?
You can't be trusted to drink a beer, but you can be trusted to go fight for your country too.
Yeah, I
So
know.
that's
We either need to up them all to 21 or lower them all to 18, because it don't make sense to have some 21 and some 18. Either you're trustworthy at 18 or you're not. Either we can hand you an M16 and train you how to be the killer, or not, right? It was crazy to me. I could drink on base at 17.
Yeah.
They didn't care, but yeah, they wouldn't. I couldn't drink. I'm like, I'm in this military. I can't have a beer. And it was crazy to me. But it just seems like common sense. Don't let kids get married.
Yeah. They know to child marriage.
Say no to child marriage. Yeah. I think we have plenty of data centers. The problem is we're trying to build more data centers than we need for us to use, right? So what are we doing here? Are we making data centers for other people, and then we're taking the
hit on
The hit on the
I don't know.
pollution?
That's my problem, is that I
Yeah.
don't know enough.
yeah.
But I think that there needs to be severe regulation around them. I think
Yeah.
that we cannot just have these people come in and build these huge things that we don't know anything about. Are we testing soil beforehand, then after? Are we testing water within this far before and then after? And
Yeah.
when something's happening, then what? What's the
And when the community
resolution?
vocally all comes out
Yeah.
against it,
We don't.
I don't think it's a legislator's place to force it upon them
Yeah,
if
that's
they don't
crazy.
want it.
No. That's the thing, is everybody has to have a voice, not just rich people.
Yeah.
We need to give everyday people voices, because people care. That's the problem. People care. They just aren't being heard. So when they're not being heard, they're getting discouraged, and then they feel like nobody's listening, and people are like, what does it matter anyway? Nobody's listening to me.
Might as well just shut up.
There's enough people that actually care. There's enough people that actually care about everything that's going on. They're just so sick of it. They're just so sick of being told, like, you're too poor, you're too stupid, you're too this, you're too that, you don't look the right part, so go sit down over there because nobody cares what you think anyway.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of people just like us that care all the time. And if we all stand together, then it makes a difference.
Yeah. Collective voices. Reproductive health. I hate that we even have to keep talking about it, seeing as how we voted on it, but pro-choice.
Yeah, I'm definitely pro-choice. It's none of my business what you talk about with your doctor or the choices that need to be made when it has to do with pregnancy. That is none of my business. It's none of my business if you need to go have your sperm checked because you can't have a baby. It's none of my business if you need to have some kind of operation. It's none of my business if you really want a baby and your fetus is not viable and there has to be something done about it or you're going to die. None of those things are my business to make laws about.
Yeah.
If you get pregnant at 45 years old and you don't want to have a baby, it's none of my business to tell you no. It's none of my business to say, you already have 6 kids at home and you really don't want another one, but
Yeah.
we're going to make you have it anyway.
Yeah.
None of those things are my business. These are things that you need to discuss with your own family, with your own doctor, with your own healthcare provider, whatever. If there is something wrong and my wife is pregnant again and there's something wrong and for whatever reason the baby, let's say the baby is dead and she can't get it out, this is a problem. That's now
Yeah.
considered abortion to take it out.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of doctors who are very afraid to even do certain procedures because of the way laws are. This is absurd.
And so then there's families like yours that would like to grow, but you're
Oh,
afraid.
yeah,
You're afraid to
Trisha-
let your family grow in this state.
We would have loved to have another baby already, and we have a 1.5-year-old, but it's too nerve-wracking to
Yeah.
put her through something like that when so many things go wrong during pregnancy and childbirth. That's one of the most dangerous times in a person's life is when they're pregnant and giving birth.
Yeah, they're putting in laws that are making doctors
Right.
afraid to give her proper care.
Yeah.
You don't want her to be some
And I'm
statistic
sorry,
in the
it would
news.
have to, I would choose my wife.
Yeah.
I can have another baby, I can't have another wife.
And
Not
kids
another
can't
her.
have another mother. Unions, workers' rights.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's discuss those.
I think unions are beneficial. Everybody who wants to be a part of a union to get their voices heard should do it.
Yeah.
If they want to. Nobody should be like forced.
Yeah.
But
But you have some unions in your history of your family.
yeah, lots of my families were in unions. My uncle is a member of a sheet metal union, and that really helped move him up out of poverty, especially when times when there's no work. There's other guys that are not part of the union that just have to be out of work for all that time, and he goes into the union hall and writes his name down and they call him when there's work. These people have provided Christmases and birthdays to the kids when things were going badly, when times were slow or there was problems with the metal or being able
Yeah.
to get it. Also, they stand up for your rights. If you're not being fairly treated, paid, or you're working in awful conditions where like, oh, we're not going to provide you a mask,
Yeah.
but you need one because there's metal shavings everywhere,
Yeah.
that's a problem. So then all of these people can get together and say, hey, I think it needs to be a rule that you provide masks for us.
Yeah.
And then look at that, less people dying of lung cancer or breathing in
Well, a
metal
40-hour work
particles.
week, the weekend,
Right.
that all came because unions. And so
Yeah.
the thing is, when unions make it better for, it's not just their company
Right,
or
it's
their
everybody.
sheet metalist, it brings everybody up because
Yeah.
if they're demanding a wage, it brings all the wages up.
Yeah.
It brings all the benefits up. It sets the new peak criteria that people are going to want to expect. And so as workers,
Right.
they're entering businesses and businesses are going to have to meet that if they want qualified workers. And so, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it just doesn't, why people would be against a union doesn't make sense to me as far as a worker. There's arguments that workers have against unions,
I
and it's
can't
just,
understand.
I just can't even wrap my head around why you.
If you want to work in the same exact industry next door and these people get a table and a chair and you sit on the floor all day, then that's your choice. But I think that all of the people working together to make this happen is a better thing. I don't.
Yeah. We know how
I mean,
strong
going on
collective
strike
voice
is such an important tool to be able to have to get the things that you need. Nobody's going on strike because they don't have a pen.
Yeah.
We're not like,
I mean, ideally what would happen, and what the social contract we had for the longest time with rich people and stuff before unions, and more like a smaller
see a need,
thing.
fill a need.
And they would donate their money back, and they would make sure their workers were paid for and stuff. But as we've gotten to more and more and more to where they keep more and more of that and spread it to the shareholders and aren't giving it back to the workers, you need unions more and more, because that's all the unions are doing, is trying to get their fair share of the profits that they helped create. Because those billions of dollars in Boeing profits wouldn't be there if those workers weren't making
Right.
those planes. And so they just want their fair share. So if the company does better, the workers should do better. And there's a lot of laws and things involved in that, but it doesn't have to be as bad as it is. They could pay their employees more. And then collectively, they just have the power, because then the union allows them to be able to strike and support themselves, and they help take care of each other through the strike. And we're trying to get like this general strike to go from the whole country, but people are scared because they don't have that. If you're part of a union, you have it, like you're talking about. They help you get presents, they help you get food, you go sign up, they help you find work, and that's what the union provides. It provides you the safety net that you need to be able to strike and stand up for your rights without fear of losing your job.
Yeah.
And I like the tenants unions and stuff that they're making and stuff like that. It's the same concept. You're all coming together and refusing, and they can't evict you all. They can't fire you all.
Yeah.
And they can't get us all. Yeah, unions. Kansas was built by unions and manufacturing in unions. That's how everything was built around here. They're attacking trans people, especially right now, but it doesn't mean they'll stop there. They'll come for gay marriage next.
I just don't understand why people want to be in other people's doctor's appointments, other people's pants, and other people's bedrooms. None
Yeah.
of those things are any of your business.
Yeah, mind your business.
This is not hurting you in any way.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask people to pull down their pants. You don't have to be a peeping Tom and look in somebody's curtains to see who they're sleeping with. And you don't have to be into a doctor's appointment with anybody else. Just mind your business. There should not be laws being made about people.
Yeah.
Period. You can't just take one whole group of people and be like, guess what? You're not allowed to take a piss today.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it just seems, and there's so many important things. We are having trouble surviving.
We
And they're
can't
spending
afford groceries,
time.
gas, or special education.
Yeah.
And you're worried about
Who's peeing
somebody
there?
peeing in the wrong bathroom in a state house. It's
Yeah,
absurd.
or one student playing sports.
Yeah, one student.
One student. I don't even know if there are any trans students in Kansas trying to play sports.
I know that there's
Maybe a
trans
handful.
students in Kansas. I don't know that they're trying to play sports. I think they're all just so discouraged.
Yeah.
They do choir and
Why would they?
theater
Yeah.
because nobody's looking at your pants for that.
Yeah.
So weird. And they all change behind the curtain at the same place and same time. Nobody's complaining about that.
Yeah, theater kids are very open.
Goodness.
I couldn't have been a theater kid. I was
So
way
weird.
too modest. But
And then you have to single them out and say, oh, you have to go to the bathroom at the nurse's office.
yeah, we're out in a.
These children are not looking under the stalls at each other.
Yeah, the kids don't seem to be worried about it.
The
because
kids
you know
don't
kids.
care. Yeah, I know all of the kids. They don't care. They think it's absurd too.
Yeah, and my kids are younger, and when they were in high school, they didn't care, and they were
Nobody
making a
cares.
big deal out of it. The educators don't care, and the kids don't care.
It's the parents.
It's the parents.
The
Well,
bigoted parents.
it's just propaganda coming down
Yes.
and misinformation coming down about what it even is. Kids are not, when you're talking about trans children, especially 16 or under or whatever, they're not getting surgeries.
No.
They're probably not even getting hormone blockers or anything. They're getting counseling. They're being taught.
Do you know who
through
is
it.
getting surgeries? Rich girls getting
Oh yeah.
breast implants at 16 years old because their parents can pay for it.
Yeah. I knew a girl
But
that.
to get breast implants as a trans person,
Yeah.
you have to, even as an adult, you have to go see this doctor, then see this therapist, and get this paper signed, and do this, and get this other paper signed, and then you can get your breast implants. Like,
Yeah.
it's a very long process. You're not just going in and having them. So nobody's doing, come here, little Tommy, let me cut your little penis off in the lunchroom in the nurse's office. This is ridiculous. This is not happening.
It's not.
This is absurd.
It's not happening. At worst, they're getting hormone blockers that can they just stop taking them.
Yeah.
And then it's fine. It's mostly about allowing them to do their name and dress the way they want and supporting their gender identity.
And you know what? People are already calling kids other names. You got people in school calling people by their nicknames since they were kids. That is not their legal name. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares?
It's ridiculous. This is all absurd to me.
It is
Stay out of
absurd.
the bathrooms, stay out of the doctor's office, stay out of the bedrooms, and just mind your own
Mind
business.
your own
That's it.
business.
I don't-
Thank you.
I don't understand.
That should be our slogan.
You're right.
Forget the everyday people thing. Caden Bennett, mind your business.
God,
All
it's so
right.
absurd.